time for another episode of Security 101, and this week we're going to talk about some of the things you can do to protect yourself from the vulnerabilities that we talked about last week. And actually, this is very simple, and the thing is, most people don't do this, and they don't understand how important this is. One of the way the bad guys get in, I want to explain the vulnerability concept. Basically, when people write software, they can't catch all the little problems that they have, and what's happening is these malware communities, which are growing, always growing, are constantly beating up the software, tearing it apart, and seeing where they could find holes to get into it. So if you have a vulnerability on your machine and you go to like a drive-by downloader site, or if it came from a phishing or something like that, what they're going to do as soon as you get there, they're going to look through all these different things. They're going to say, he has this version of Java, he has this version of Flash, he has this version of this, and they're going to keep going through all these different things. And when they find something that has a hole in it that they know of, they're going to immediately take advantage of the hole and insert a dropper or some other kind of malware downloader, and then you're going to be infected. So it's very important that you keep your software updated. And there's some software that's very important that you regularly keep updated as well. The three main infection vectors that have malware in them are going to be Flash, which is Adobe Flash, Java, and Adobe PDF. Those three should constantly be updated. There's always new ones coming out. In fact, just before I recorded this last week, the US government said to uninstall Java, and because it was such a bad thing, it was Java version 10, and they came out with 7.11, and that fixed the problem. That came out on that last Sunday. However, those things happen all the time. So what you should be doing is constantly looking for upgrades for Java. If it says you have a Java update, do it. If you have a PDF viewer update, you do it. If you have a Flash program update, do it. It's also important that you update all your software, because all software can have vulnerabilities. Those are the three most common right now that are being used to get into your machine. So the other thing that should be updated is your Windows machine. So many people do not realize that you get free updates from Microsoft for Windows, and they are always fixing bugs and vulnerabilities as well. And it also, I mean, people say you can't get viruses on a Mac. Don't believe them, you can. However, there's much less of them, but I always recommend you upgrade any program that needs to be updated, especially if it has some kind of vulnerability setting in it. Now with Windows, to make it really simple, you can just turn on auto update. Most people don't turn on auto update by default. I think it's turned off now. I'm not know that for sure. I'm not really a Windows person. However, you should always go in and make sure it's updated. Now, some people say, I don't want to update it because it updates automatically and it breaks something. Fine, I understand that, and I don't disagree with that. However, you should regularly be going in and checking them, at least once a week, because they are always coming out with new fixes. So it's very important that you update your software to keep the vulnerabilities low, which helps protect you some from getting infected from going to sites and surfing the internet. The other thing you should always make sure is your browser is updated. Internet Explorer, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, whatever you're using, come out with regular updates as well. In fact, they've known to have vulnerabilities in all those browsers. And Microsoft obviously updates the Internet Explorer along with the rest of Windows. But you should always be checking for updates with those. The other program you should always keep updated is your antivirus. Antivirus companies put out new patterns. Some of them is every day, some of them every 2 days, but there's constantly new patterns coming out. And as new vulnerabilities are found in the wild, they write patterns that look for the programs that are trying to keep infecting those vulnerabilities. So it's another layer of security that helps keep you safe. So make sure you click on the antivirus and do an update and make sure you're up to date with your antivirus. And like I said before, make sure you do updates on all your computers. Don't assume that your computer is safe, because more likely it's not safe. So that was this week. I just want to talk about vulnerabilities and the importance of doing regular updates. Next week on Security 101, we're going to talk about how not to get tricked, because there's lots of scams out there, and we're going to give you some hints on how you don't fall victim to those scams. So we'll see you next week on Security 101.